Friends, we're all back together for the next episode of the Juicebox Podcast. Welcome.
My name is Shay, and I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes in 2006, so I would have been 8 years old.
Nothing you hear on the Juicebox Podcast should be considered advice, medical or otherwise. Always consult a physician before making any changes to your healthcare plan. AG1 is offering my listeners a free $76 gift when you sign up. You'll get a welcome kit, a bottle of D3K2, and 5 free travel packs in your first box. So make sure you check out drinkag1.com/juicebox to get this offer. Don't forget to save 40% off of your entire order at CozyEarth.com. All you have to do is use the offer code JUICEBOX at checkout. That's JUICEBOX at checkout to save 40% at CozyEarth.com. The podcast contains so many different series and collections of information that it can be difficult to find them in your traditional podcast app sometimes. That's why they're also collected at juiceboxpodcast.com. Go up to the top. There's a menu right there. Click on Series, Defining Diabetes, Bold Beginnings, the Pro Tip Series, Small Sips, Omnipod 5, Ask Scott and Jenny, Mental Wellness, Fat and Protein, Defining Thyroid, After Dark, Diabetes Variables, Grand Rounds, Cold Wind, Pregnancy, Type 2 Diabetes, GLP Meds, The Math Behind Diabetes, Diabetes Myths, and so much more. You have to go check it out. It's all there and waiting for you, and it's absolutely free. JuiceboxPodcast.com. Today's episode is sponsored by the Tandem Mobi system with Control-IQ Plus technology. If you are looking for the only system with auto bolus, multiple wear options, and full control from your personal iPhone, you're looking for Tandem's newest pump and algorithm. Use my link to support the podcast, tandemdiabetes.com/juicebox. Check it out. I'm having an on-body vibe alert. This episode of the Juicebox Podcast is sponsored by Eversense 365, the only one-year wear CGM. That's one insertion and one CGM a year. One CGM, 1 year. Not every 10 or 14 days. EversenseCGM.com/juicebox.
My name is Shay. I'm actually turning 27 tomorrow.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes in 2006, so I would have been 8 years old.
8 years old, and you're going to be 20, just about 20 years.
Yep.
Wow. One of my daughter's good friends when they were young is named Shay. So it's going to...
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Not spelled the same way. Hers is spelled after the stadium.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's a different name, though, isn't it? Yours.
Yeah, it is. I don't see it that often.
I was going to say, I don't either. It took me by surprise when it popped up in front of me. So diagnosed as a child, you're in your mid to late 20s now. I'm sure you don't think of it as your late 20s.
No.
But what's it been like having type 1?
Well, it was a lot different back then before technology got so good. So I'd say for the first 5-10 years was pretty rough for me. I was doing probably 20 injections or more a day.
Wow.
And just really struggling to keep it kind of even. I'm always like up and down back then.
Mm-hmm.
And this was when Dexcom, I think they were on like the G4 when I started, or G3.
Did you have a Dexcom from the beginning? No.
I did finger prick for years. And then when they couldn't get me under control, then they were like, okay, your blood sugars and your A1C is bad enough. Your insurance will cover a pump and a Dexcom. And I was really scared. I mean, I forget how old I was, but I think I was maybe 12 or 13. And I was just like, I don't want something attached to me all the time.
I was going to say, tell me what was scary about it.
It was hard for me to be okay with being like different than kids around me.
Yeah.
So I would always hide the fact that I was diabetic. So it just terrified me that people would be able to see that, I guess, something was different about me just based off of stuff like hanging on me. And that mixed with like the technology just kind of overwhelmed me.
Were you managing mostly on your own?
Yeah. That's the thing. My parents weren't very involved with my care. And it was kind of like they taught us food groups and stuff like that. And then my parents were like, okay, you can figure this out. So,
Shay, let me ask you, like, were you figuring it out? Like, did you have like awesome A1Cs? No, you were up and down all the time, right?
no, yeah, it was horrible. I didn't know what I was doing. The only thing I remember from that class when I was 8, when they found out, was that they used fake fruit. Like, I don't remember any information. Like, I just remember visuals of the fake fruit and being like scared and nervous and not knowing what was going on.
Oh, literally, like someone held a fake banana up in front of you. It's like, if you're bolusing for a banana, it might be this many carbs. And that's your recollection.
That's exactly how it went.
Did your parents know that? I'm so sorry to ask like this, but were they like, did they just abandon you on this, or did they not know you were struggling?
Yeah, they kind of just didn't want to deal with it.
Were you super excited to deal with it?
No, I was just confused and lost. But yeah, even to this day, they don't know the difference between like a Dexcom and an Omnipod. So
I'm so sorry to go down this road, but I want to understand. Like, do you have other siblings?
Yeah, I have a brother that's 11 months older, but he has no health problems at all.
Are they involved in his stuff?
Yeah, I guess so. They kind of resented me for having health problems and kind of blamed me for being so expensive, I guess.
Really?
Yeah, so I just didn't have a good childhood in general. So I really was like completely alone through the diabetes and the diagnosis at 8 years old.
What's your relationship with your parents like now?
I only see them every once in a while, so I don't see them too often, but I'm getting married soon, and
Congratulations.
My mom went with me to try on wedding dresses, and she asked me if I was going to hide my Dexcom and my pump because it looked bad with the dress.
Right back in the game, mom was, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, yeah, that's typical.
Listen, I feel bad saying this, but are your parents generally heads, or is it just about this?
They just weren't good parents to begin with, I think.
Yeah. How come, do you believe?
I don't think they were ready to have kids, and they planned my brother, but obviously 11 months later, they didn't plan me.
You were the, hey, we haven't had sex in a while, baby. Like, so,
yeah, I was the oops.
Well, that's, first of all, listen, you don't need me to, say I'm sorry, but that sucks. I'm sorry. It's a perspective that I think a lot of people have and don't share very often. So it's very nice of you to spend time talking about it. So you don't dislike your parents or anything like that. You're just not particularly close with them.
Yeah, I mean, I was upset with them for a while, but it's just kind of the way it is. So there's no point in getting upset when I know they're going to be like that about my health.
Yeah. Somebody once told me that you can't ask more of people than they have to give.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
You're not harboring any resentment, but you do believe that if it wasn't for diabetes, do you think you'd have a different relationship with them, or do you think they would just have found another thing to be upset about and because they weren't really looking to be parents?
Yeah, I think it would have been negative no matter what.
Something else.
But it put such a damper on like taking care of myself because I was constantly worried about what people were going to say or think about me because my parents weren't great with it. So I never like truly embraced it and wanted to hide it as much as I could. Because
if people realize you have diabetes, somehow the conversation leads to the fact that you're alone in all this. And then you have to tell people you don't have parents that seem to give a shit about you.
Yeah, pretty much.
How old were you when you thought about it that way? Like, gosh, they don't care enough about me to like help me with this.
I kind of caught on even at 8 years old because I had to give myself my own injections. And it's crazy. I look at 8-year-olds now and I'm like, that was me, but giving myself injections and keeping myself alive and not knowing what I was doing. Yeah. There's a balance, obviously, between letting kids fumble around and grow. And I'm for that, but not on this thing. Like, this is a weird place to, like, there's stuff like my kids will come to me and they'll be like, what do you think of this? I'm like, you'll figure it out. Don't worry. And you want them to like live through it and figure it out, but not diabetes, not when you're 8. Right. Not to me, at least. It's just not how I think about it, I guess. Yeah. And there's nobody in my family that's type 1 at all. So I don't know anybody. Yeah. You wouldn't have anybody to ask. Right. Jeez. So, okay. So we're back to being 12 or 13. Things are bad enough that
they're like, you got to use this gear. You're like, oh God, if somebody's going to see it. And I see where that comes from because, 15 years later, your mom's like, oh gosh, you're not going to let anybody see this, are you?
Yeah.
But you get the stuff anyway. Does it end up helping? Why would you settle for changing your CGM every few weeks when you can have 365 days of reliable glucose data? Today's episode is sponsored by the Eversense 365. It is the only CGM with a tiny sensor that lasts a full year, sitting comfortably under your skin, with no more frequent sensor changes and essentially no compression lows for 1 year. You'll get your CGM data in real time on your phone, smartwatch, Android or iOS, even an Apple Watch. Predictive high and low alerts let you know where your glucose is headed before it gets there, so there's no surprises, just confidence. And you can instantly share that data with your healthcare provider or your family. You're going to get 1 year of reliable data without all those sensor changes. That's the Eversense 365. Gentle on your skin, strong for your life. One sensor a year that gives you one less thing to worry about. Head now to eversensecgm.com/juicebox to get started. Let's talk about the Tandem Mobi insulin pump from today's sponsor, Tandem Diabetes Care. Their newest algorithm, Control-IQ Plus technology, and the new Tandem Mobi pump offer you unique opportunities to have better control. It's the only system with auto bolus that helps with missed meals and preventing hyperglycemia. The only system with a dedicated sleep setting, and the only system with off or on body wear options. Tandem Mobi gives you more discretion, freedom, and options for how to manage your diabetes. This is their best algorithm ever, and they'd like you to check it out at tandemdiabetes.com/juicebox. When you get to my link, you're going to see integrations with Dexcom sensors and a ton of other information that's going to help you learn about Tandem's tiny pump that's big on control. tandemdiabetes.com/juicebox. The Tandem Mobi system is available for people ages 2 and up who want an automated delivery system to help them sleep better, wake up in range, and address high blood sugars with auto bolus.
Yeah, it completely changed my life pretty much. At first it wasn't like an automatic fix, but it took a while to learn the settings, and because they didn't have closed loop back then.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to really be strict with the settings and everything, which my parents would take me to the endocrinologist, but they wouldn't, they would wait outside. They wouldn't wait.
Wait, Shay, get the fuck out of here. Really?
Yeah. They pretty much just dropped me off.
You're 12 years old and your parents would dump you out on the curb and then go get cigarettes and come back for you an hour later?
Just wait in the car. Yeah.
Oh my God. That's so fucking terrible.
Yeah.
I was in the car the other day with my son and we were leaving a mall situation. And there was this old man parked in the fire lane by the mall, just sitting there smoking a cigarette, waiting clearly for his wife, who he wouldn't have gone into a mall for anything,
Yeah.
I said, gosh, when I was young, I pointed to him and I said, when I was young, guys did this all the time. They'd sit outside of grocery stores, they'd sit outside of malls. They're I'm not going in there. And they just sit in their car. And my son was like, really? And I was like, he goes, I hate going to the mall. But he's like, but I go in when my girlfriend goes. And I was like, right. But this old man was just such a throwback to another time. Just that, you go do it and I'll wait here. You go do woman things and I'll sit in the car. But they did that to you when you were a kid.
Yeah.
That's now, Shay, at the time, did you know, did 12-year-old Shay walk in there going man, I've got crappy parents? Or were you just I'm brave, I can do this on my own? How did it feel to you?
I thought it was normal then. I really didn't see anything wrong with it until I was closer to friends and talking to them and seeing how their parents were. Yeah. I was like, wow, mine are not involved in anything I do at all.
Did the doctor ever say to you, where are your parents?
Yeah, I would just be like, oh, they're waiting outside and they don't want to talk.
Shay, you realize now, if you do even the tiniest good thing as a parent one day, you're going to be I'm so good at this.
Yeah, right.
Try not to tell your kids that kind of stuff. Don't do the you're lucky I'm doing this. My mom wouldn't even go into the doctor's appointment with me. Because I found myself telling my kids at times, I'm like, oh my God, you have no idea. The 70s, somebody would have kicked your ass for that. But you're younger though. How old are your parents now?
They're in their 50s.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. All right. Listen, my last question about your parents, then we move on unless they come up again. Drinkers, drugs, anything like that?
Yeah, my dad, heavy drinker. My mom, she has like mental health problems. So
Like what?
she is bipolar, I think type 1.
Okay.
So she has all these medications she takes, and sometimes she gets like manic and stuff like that.
I see. They were challenged too then.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you? Do you have anything else besides the type 1?
Oh, yeah, I have a list.
Go ahead. What is it?
So I have endometriosis, which I got surgery for 2 months ago, and they found out it's stage 4. So it was really extensive. Hashimoto's, Raynaud's disease, and Addison's disease.
Holy hell.
Yeah.
How does the endometriosis present?
So I had been in like debilitating pain for like years, and no doctor would listen to me. They just wanted to give me birth control or, tell me just eat better or don't eat this, and nothing helped. I was in pain so much. I just couldn't deal with it anymore. So I finally got someone to listen to me and said they would go in, and while they're looking, they would remove anything they needed to. So that turned up as a 3-hour surgery, which was supposed to be 45 minutes long.
Yeah.
So when they got in there, they saw it was a lot worse than they expected and ended up getting it all out. So I've been doing really good, a lot better so far.
Explain endometriosis to people. What were they in there looking for?
So it's like your uterine tissue like grows on the outside and grows on other organs. And then it causes really bad pain and other issues because it's like growing on the nerves. And I had organs attached to each other because of this. So they had to go in and cut them free.
Will this happen again?
They said there's a 60% chance of it coming back within 5 years. But I'm pretty hopeful because I'm really healthy and I do a lot of healthy eating and exercise. So I'm hoping that'll help, but I know that doesn't always keep it away.
And if it doesn't, then the idea is they go back in and hack away again?
Yeah, pretty much do it all over again.
Jesus, that sucks. Is this going to impact you having kids?
Yeah, they said I have some like blockage of my like fallopian tubes and stuff like that. So they're not sure, but I'm not that interested in having kids anyway.
Oh, why not? Shay.
It's just not for me.
Oh, I meant, I was making fun of your parents.
Oh.
Yeah. Please. Is there any other like bipolar in your family, or is your mom the only one?
Yeah, just my mom. My dad's family, we don't know them because he's adopted. So.
Jeez. Well, what a show.
Yeah.
What made you want to come on the podcast?
Maybe there's other people with just as much as a show as me that would want to hear it.
There definitely is, Shay. Don't worry. Yeah. You came to the right place. Yeah, there's plenty of people out there right now going, oh, I have all that stuff.
Yeah.
Hashimoto's, you manage it just with like Synthroid?
They've told me for probably the whole 20 years now that I have Hashimoto's, but I still don't need medication for it.
What is your TSH when they test it?
That's a good question. They do test it probably once every 6 months for me, and it's fine every time.
So they just tell you it's in range.
Yeah. Sometimes it's borderline, but they still say I don't need the medication yet.
Do you have any symptoms of it? Are you tired? Does your hair fall out? Are you cold? Like anything like that?
I'm constantly tired, but I feel like that's because I have so many different autoimmune issues. And then I am always cold, but I have anemia. So it's like I'm not sure what is causing this symptom today, kind of thing.
Shay, we're going to get you all straightened out today, okay? Do you have access to your labs?
Yeah, I do.
Can you get them?
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. We'll keep talking. So what about the anemia? Did they ever do a full iron panel? Do you know what your ferritin level is?
So all they told me was that it was low, and this was at my endocrinologist. and they weren't sure like what to tell me for milligrams of iron to take every day, and that I needed to go to my primary care physician for that.
Awesome.
So I just thought that was so ridiculous.
Yeah. What a great help they are.
Yeah.
We'll figure it all out together. Don't worry. So your ferritin is low. Your iron panels came back abnormal. They didn't give you anything for it. Told you to go to talk to a different doctor about taking an iron tablet, which you're not going to do. Do you have heavy bleeding around your menstruation?
Yeah, like so much that I would faint and stuff like
Holy
that.
hell.
Which it's been better since the surgery, but yeah.
Okay. How about your digestion? Does the food go in and come out the way you want it to? Or do you have...
I have horrible digestion problems and they can't figure it out. It's been pretty much like 6 months we've been trying to figure out what's going on with my stomach, and I don't eat much at all because everything hurts.
Food goes in, you have pain in your stomach, you don't eliminate every day, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, it's more like constant diarrhea no matter what I eat.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Shit, I'm not laughing at you. It's just horrible. So I'm going to guess that the diarrhea is about the thyroid that nobody's helping you with.
Probably.
Tell me when you have your labs in front of you.
Oh, okay. 1 second. Yeah, I also, the Addison's disease, which is pretty rare for humans to get. I mean, dogs get it all the time, but humans don't get Addison's disease much. So that took forever for them to figure out what it was. And no one believed me. I was down to, I'm 5'7", so I'm pretty tall for a girl, but I was down to like 95 pounds.
Oh, wow. My daughter's 5'7".
So sick.
Yeah, I know how thin she'd be if she was 95 pounds. We've had people on that have Addison's. There's a great person in the group that has it. So there's people that we could kind of hook you up with too to try to find.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
But dig out your labs and I'm going to find.
Okay, I have them up.
Okay. Your last TSH was what?
2.65.
Okay. And your ferritin under the iron panel?
37.4 ng/ml.
Yeah. Okay. How would you like to feel insanely better in a month?
That would be great.
Awesome. Here's how we're going to do it. Your TSH is too high. Your ferritin is too low. Now, you have insurance?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. You want thyroid replacement hormone. You want to tell your doctor that you want to medicate your TSH to under 2. You have thyroid symptoms, and I don't care if the test tells me I'm in range. I know that if I can medicate my TSH under 2, that a lot of my thyroid symptoms will go away, and then list all of your thyroid symptoms for them. Okay. Then you have to make an appointment with your general practitioner and tell them that you have significant low iron symptoms. For instance, general fatigue and weakness?
Definitely.
Persistent tiredness?
Definitely.
Do you have muscle weakness?
Yes.
Do you feel sluggish or drained?
Yep.
Do you experience brain fog, dizziness, lightheadedness, mood swings, irritability, or increased anxiety or depression?
All of those.
Okay. Do you have shortness of breath when you mildly exert yourself?
Yes.
A rapid heartbeat?
Mm-hmm.
Cold hands and feet?
Yep.
Is your skin pale?
Sometimes, yeah.
Are your nails brittle?
Yes.
Have you experienced hair thinning?
No.
Do you bruise easily?
Yes.
Do you chew ice?
Yeah, actually.
Frequent infections, slow healing, restless legs, especially at night.
Oh my gosh, yes, the restless legs for sure.
You have low ferritin. So I want you to tell your doctor that you want your ferritin level to be at least 70, but you'd prefer it to be higher, and you would like to get iron infusions.
Okay.
You're going to have to go to a hematologist, and the hematologist is going to be where you get the infusions. Depending on what your insurance will cover, you'll either get like 2 infusions, 1 a week apart, or you'll get 5, depending on the medication, like a week apart. You'll then have the iron in your system that your system needs. And the next time your blood cells regenerate, so what's happening is your blood cells are being regenerated, but you don't have enough iron to build them properly. And that's why you're having the problems you're having. So then your red blood cells will get regenerated properly, and all of that will just go away.
Interesting.
It's incredibly possible that you might not need the thyroid medication, that getting your iron up, your ferritin level up, might take care of the things that look like thyroid symptoms. But having said that, also know that bad iron also impacts your thyroid numbers. Low ferritin can impact thyroid function, particularly TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone levels, but the duration of the effect depends. So that's why it's bouncing around on you. So low ferritin can lead to a higher TSH level.
Oh, okay.
That may be why your TSH is bouncing around. So I'm going to say, based on everything you've said so far, and the fact that I am not a doctor, I barely got out of high school, and I only have a podcast, I am going to say to you that if you get your ferritin raised through an iron infusion, that it's possible that the next time they check your TSH, it will look better.
Okay. Yeah, I know a lot of Addison's people need to get infusions too. So that makes total sense.
Yeah, except nobody's helping you with it, which is, of course, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Would this impact bowel habits? Low ferritin can absolutely impact bowel habits, including causing loose stools or increased bowel movements. Yeah, you are literally a few infusions away from all this going away.
That's crazy. I feel like my endocrinologist just doesn't want to listen at all.
Yeah, skip them. Go right to a hematologist.
Okay, yeah, that's a good idea.
Also, because when you have low ferritin, you're going to get poor nutritional absorption, right?
Yeah, I am very vitamin deficient and like vitamin D. I think it was vitamin E.
Your food's not being absorbed correctly.
Makes sense.
Yeah. They're going to say, well, why don't we try taking an iron supplement? And you go like this, no. Okay. Because that'll take too long. My numbers are too low. And I'm not waiting a year to maybe raise my ferritin level 20 points.
Yeah.
I want to get jacked back up again.
Yeah.
And then you got to get it checked again, because the sadness here is, Shay, if you don't figure out why this is happening, your iron levels are going to drop back down again. Now, if they were because of heavy excessive periods, are you still getting excessive periods?
No, not like that anymore.
So it's possible you get jacked up one time, your body starts absorbing your nutrients better and the minerals that you need, you're not bleeding as heavy, and all this clears up. And then you one day decide to buy a puppy and you name it Scott because you're so thrilled with how much I've helped you today.
Yeah, sounds like a plan.
All right, let's do it. And don't take no for an answer. You're young, so let me tell you that. Just don't let them tell you no.
Yeah.
Okay? You know what to tell them? You know how to make this happen?
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to write all my symptoms down and tell them I have been taking iron pills, but I feel like they don't do anything.
Oh, you have been taking them?
Haven't been.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Oh, if you've been taking them, say, look, I've been taking these. They don't do shit.
Yeah.
I need the juice. Give me the juice. That's what you say. Give me the juice. I'm telling you, like, if you have great insurance, it might cover something called Injectifer, which you'll probably just need to get twice. If your insurance is a bunch of cheapskates, I think they're going to give you something called Venifer, maybe. I forget the names exactly. One of them you have to take more frequently to get the same thing. But the good news is that there are infusion centers everywhere. And so, like, it's not really hard to, like, you just go into an infusion center, they pop into your vein real quick. It takes 30 minutes to put the stuff in, and you're on your way.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
Nope.
Especially if I can feel better.
It's not going to be like eating a cheeseburger and afterwards you're like, that was satisfying. Like, you know, you're not going to feel any different that day. But I'm telling you, like, once your red blood cells cycle one time with the proper amount of iron in your system, you're going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe how much better I feel.
Yeah, well, now I'm excited.
Yeah, good. Excellent. Well, yeah, listen, I've now done more for you than your parents.
Yeah, right?
All right. Tell me more about this Addison. So how long have you had this diagnosis?
I got diagnosed in 2020 in January.
Okay.
So it's been 5 years. Like I said, I was really sick for a long time. No one could figure it out. I mean, I couldn't even stretch in the morning without collapsing and just being so out of breath from stretching. And I couldn't keep anything down. I would throw up every morning after waking up. And I brought these concerns to my endocrinologist, and they said, oh, maybe you're pregnant. And I said, I'm definitely not pregnant. But all they did was get me a pregnancy test and say, well, you're not pregnant, so we're not sure. Everything else looks fine.
Everybody sucks, especially in your life, Shay.
Yeah.
But everybody just sucks. Can you give me, generally speaking, where you live in the country?
Central Pennsylvania.
Oh, I know the area. Yeah. All right. I'm not totally surprised. Okay. You're so close to good healthcare, too.
I know, right?
Yeah. You could just go a little towards Pittsburgh or a little towards Philly. You'd be okay. But you're stuck right in the middle there.
Yeah. Because Pittsburgh and Philly, they're over 3 hours away from me.
Yeah. You're literally right in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Gotcha. There's got to be somebody who can help you. And I think you just have to take it upon. Listen, I know that after stuff like this happens over and over again, it gets defeating and frustrating. And you think like, oh, somebody says no, and you just kind of give up. But trust me, if you get this iron infusion, it's going to rectify a lot of different problems for you.
Yeah. I've been just going, okay, I guess, whenever they say we can't figure anything out, because I feel like hopeless. Like, what else am I going to say to them to get them to believe me and look into it more?
You don't need them to believe you. You need the iron. Like, in the form of an infusion, and you're going to be so much better. I mean, honestly, like, we can sit here and be angry. It is very frustrating to me that somebody doesn't see a ferritin of 37 and all of your symptoms and go, oh gosh, you need an iron infusion. Like, I can't believe somebody didn't say that, but I guess we can't count on, I don't know, maybe we can't count on people to do their jobs all the time or to know what their jobs are. But the Addisons is crazy. What do they do for that?
So I take hydrocortisone, so steroids in pill form every day. Take them morning, afternoon, and night. And then, of course, I have to take more if I'm like under a lot of stress or doing a lot of exercise and stuff like that, because my body doesn't produce cortisol itself. So I'm basically giving it cortisol when it needs it and just guessing when I need it.
That's I would say a crapshoot too, right? Even understanding when to do that.
It was really hard to figure out at first, especially like when I turned 21 and drinking. I really struggled and ended up in the hospital like 2 or 3 times because I just didn't know how to coexist and still go out and have fun with all my health problems. Because with Addison's disease, you need a lot of sodium, and I constantly have low sodium. So if I'm not keeping up with like sodium and water intake, and it's like all a balance game, then I get really sick fast, and then it goes downhill from there.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I know it's not an easy thing, obviously. Autoimmune. So we don't even know about the rest of it. Like, we can't even talk about your digestion until you maybe get the iron addressed.
Yeah, they had thought it might be celiac disease, but
it's not.
I don't know. It came back negative, but at that point, I hadn't had any gluten for months. So that could have impacted the test too.
Yeah. Do you think that's a consideration?
I guess it's common, but I feel better not eating gluten. But that could be in general.
Because you're eating
despite diabetes anyway, or celiac disease.
I'd be so super interested just to see what the iron does for you. Like, and see, because also, like, I mean, there's obviously overlapping stuff with Addison's low iron and thyroid, like the fatigue, your low weight. That could be a couple of different things. Even like any irritability, muscle weakness, depression, that kind of stuff could overlap through all those things, which is what makes some of these autoimmune issues so terrible. Like, they all look like each other. So
yeah, exactly. It's so hard to tell what is giving me which symptom.
Yeah. But I would say that the iron's a good first step, because it's outside of these other 2 issues, outside of Addison's or possibly Hashimoto's, like, right? And you can address it, and you will know, like I said, you'll know in 4 to 6 weeks if it was helpful.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely like getting on this today.
Good. I'm glad. What else should we talk about? What else you got on your list over there?
Well, I have kind of a horror story.
Awesome.
Of the hospital a couple months ago. So
Shay, you're the podcast guest that keeps on giving. Go ahead. What happened?
So this was for my endometriosis surgery. This was my first surgery ever. I've never been like put under for surgery before. And when you're put under, you need extra steroids for the Addison's disease. Well, they gave me extra during the surgery. And then when I woke up, the team called my endocrinologist and asked if they should give me more, and they said no. I was unaware of this, obviously, because I just got out of surgery and was so out of it. Well, they sent me home the same day, and I got home, took a nap, woke up, had to go went pee, and immediately just passed out on the bathroom floor because I was in so much pain and was just drenched in sweat. I had no idea what my blood sugars were. Luckily, my fiance is really good with blood sugars and was looking at them for me, but it hurt so bad. I couldn't stand up. I was on the floor and couldn't keep anything down, not even water. So I had to be taken back by ambulance, which they told us to go to the ER. Well, they made us wait 4 to 5 hours. So I couldn't keep my medication down at this point. My blood sugar was running extremely low because I hadn't had food in so long.
Yeah.
And since I couldn't keep things down, I had no pain pills in my system. And I'm fresh out of surgery.
Right.
So this was like the worst pain I've ever felt. And they made us wait so long. I was passing out on the hospital floor, and we made like a little bed in a really wide windowsill for me to try to get some sleep. And it was horrible. But I feel like if they just would have given me more medication, then I wouldn't have had to go back and be in that situation.
You think it was an adrenal crisis that you were having?
Yeah, it definitely sent me into crisis for sure. So I felt kind of like, if my endocrinologist can't tell them the proper thing to do, like, I really am alone in this.
Yeah, no kidding. I guess talk about that for a second. Like, you have a number of different competing issues. The loneliness, is it a thing you can overmatch, or is it too much to get over?
Yeah, it's really tough. Like, I've just been starting to go to therapy recently, which she's the one that told me about the Juicebox podcast. So
Your therapist did?
Yeah, she did. Yep.
Awesome.
And yeah, it's really difficult because having all these health problems like so young, everyone looks at me and assumes I'm healthy. Or if I don't feel well, they think I'm exaggerating because I look perfectly fine. But it's really hard, like, just to be feeling decent for one day.
Yeah. And so it's just a struggle to feel normal.
Yeah, pretty much. And then, of course, it gives me anxiety going out of the house. Like, what if my blood sugar drops? What if I need a bunch of salt? What if I start getting shaky, or I don't feel good, or I feel pain? So for a while, I would just stay in my house a lot and not go out. But I've been working on that, like I said, with my therapist.
Also, I have to tell you, I mean, the Addisons, the possibility of thyroid, and the low ferritin, these are all things that could make anxiety worse.
Yeah, definitely the Addison's disease too. The anxiety gets really bad when I need extra medication.
It's sad because you're young, you know what I mean? And you've been through a lot already. We've been doing a good job of laughing about it, but you had a pretty crappy start. And then, you know, you have these issues, and the endometriosis, would you say it was stage 4?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, you know, you're in pain for years, and people don't like appreciate that. You don't mean pain once in a while. You mean pain constantly.
Yeah, 24/7 pain for years and years.
Yeah, yeah. And then, you know, and then on top of that, the low iron and all that comes with that one, it's a lot. And you're on your own too, because, yeah, I'm sure you have friends. It sounds like you met a boy, which is nice. It's a lot. You know what I mean? Like, to not have parents to go talk to, or somebody to get your back. So
yeah,
I'm glad you found the therapist. That's awesome too.
Yeah.
How did you know to do that? To go to a therapist? Like, it doesn't sound like you grew up in an enlightened household. So I'm wondering where did you think to do that?
I guess I was just tired of feeling the same way all the time. Like, just feeling like crap about myself, really. Like, it was always like, why me? Why do I have to deal with these health problems? Until I was like, you know, I can change my outlook and how I look at things. And I've been through a lot. And that just means that I'm stronger than most people dealing with all of this at the same time, too.
Sounds like it. Yeah, it really does. Okay. So you just were like, I need help from somewhere, and I don't know, like, nothing's going my way. I've got to go talk to somebody.
Yeah, I was feeling really down, like borderline suicidal over the physical pain I was feeling every day and not thinking that it would get any better. I didn't know where else to go.
Yeah. Like, did you ever go to your mom? I know this is a weird question because of her situation, but did you ever go to her?
Yeah, but she had endometriosis as well, but that was so long ago. They don't do it the same way now. They used to burn it off, which they still do now, but they shouldn't. They should be cutting it out. But yeah, if I talked to her about it, she would kind of act like she knows more than me kind of thing, and it would just irritate me and we would get nowhere.
Gotcha. Even though you're not all the way through this, do you feel like you're in a better place than you were a year ago?
Yeah, definitely much better than a year ago, especially because going to therapy, it's not only changing like my mental health, but it's making me realize there's other things and steps I can do for my physical health that would make me also feel better.
Yeah.
As in like making more appointments, not ignoring things and symptoms.
Yeah, that's a tough lesson to learn, but it sounds like you have it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So do you think you have a doctor that you can talk to about the ferritin idea?
I don't think I have one currently, but I just switched over to all new providers, so it shouldn't be an issue finding one.
Yeah. If you switch providers, did you have to do a physical?
Yeah, they had me go in for a physical, and the doctor was just shocked. He was like, "You're so young and you have all this going on."
But great. Can you help me with it? So
yeah, right?
Can you look and see the 37 next to the word ferritin and think to yourself, that might be a problem?
Which they're the ones that did that blood work and said everything looked fine.
Yeah.
So
nobody knows what the they're talking about.
Right.
So why don't you, how long ago was that?
That was right before my surgery. So probably 4 months ago.
Awesome. So it's pretty recent. So like,
yeah.
I call them back and I say, look, I've been doing more research and I've learned that many practitioners believe that a ferritin level under 70 for a menstruating female is too low. Mine's a 37. I found a bunch of people who have had the same problem. They've all had it alleviated by getting an iron infusion. I'd like you to get me an iron infusion. I've tried taking the iron tablets. They're not working. Here are all of my symptoms. I want to get my iron up to where it belongs. And I want to, wait a little while and then see how I feel. I think a lot of my symptoms, and you list off the low iron symptoms, are going to go away. And the ones that don't, that's okay. Because once we know my iron's higher, now we can look to see if maybe my thyroid levels could be managed better, or if this is more about digestion and the uptake of minerals and vitamins, etc. But I think that we can't figure any of that out till I get my iron higher. I've been struggling, and long enough, I want to go get an infusion. Because if they try to tell you about more iron tablets, just say, look, they're not working. They're going to constipate me. They make me sick. Like, say whatever you got to say to get your thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm going to tell them the truth. That I feel like I've tried everything to feel better and nothing is working.
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of food I eat or don't eat really is crazy. I barely eat anything. The only thing I eat is fruits and vegetables, sometimes beans. Like everything else just hurts my stomach and just doesn't make me feel good.
Yeah. Don't let them, like, when they start going like, well, that could be celiac. Oh, wait a minute. That's fine. Maybe it is. But first, we're going to get my iron up so we can figure something out. Like, that's what you just keep them focused, because otherwise their little brains, like seeing like a bird, they'll pivot. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, what was that? Did you say your stomach hurt? You might have celiac.
Yeah.
Stay focused. All right. We're going to get my iron up. After my iron's up, we're going to see how I feel. And if I still have thyroid symptoms, then I'm going to address my TSH level. Like, so once you get my iron back up, if my labs come back and my TSH is still over 2.1, then I'm going to ask for Synthroid to manage my thyroid better.
Yeah.
And then for the rest of it, I think you ought to go into the Facebook group and talk about your Addisons a little bit if you want help with it. Because I think people who live with it are going to have better advice.
Yeah. Okay.
That's pretty much where I'm at for you. You feel good about this so far?
Mm-hmm.
All right. What else is on your list? Like, besides wait, so you went to the hospital and they did all that to you, and eventually you had to go back to the hospital. You rebounded okay? How long did it take them to get you back from all that?
So I didn't really finish that. I just realized
Yeah.
they didn't give me anything but pain pills there. And they said there was a national shortage of fluids. So they wouldn't give me fluids because my case wasn't bad enough, even though I could not keep water down. So I was extremely dehydrated. And yeah, so they sent me home. I just remember sleeping forever. Maybe a whole day I slept and I woke up and still didn't feel great, but just kept taking as much extra hydrocortisone that I could. And it took me about a month to fully heal enough to go back to work and get out of the house again.
Incredible. They wouldn't give you fluids?
Nope. They literally said your case is not bad enough because we have a shortage.
To get just IVs?
Yep. They got none of that. They never even gave me a bed to lay in. I was in one of those upright chairs, just screaming in pain.
You got to move a little closer to the ocean. I don't know another way to put it. And listen, I want to say, as a person who's been spending the last 3 days thinking, I want to move a little closer to the center of the country, I'm going to tell you, like, the one thing that slows me down about that is healthcare.
Yeah.
Like, it really is. It's the one thing that's like, when I say to my wife, like, can we move? What did I tell somebody this morning? Here, I'll share. I'll share directly with you. I told somebody this morning in a text message, I'm going to find the exact wording I used because I want to be clear. Seriously, I'm sick of food, people, and the weather.
Yeah.
Is that I think I'm officially old. And I was talking to my daughter the other day and I said, like, I don't know, like, I'm older now. Like, I'd like to just move somewhere a little less congested with people. And, you know, I'd like the weather to be a little better. Like, I'm not looking for this snow. And she's like, where are you going to go? And I was like, I have no idea. Like, I talked about it, but places. And in the end, I said, I'm not going to do it, though. And she said, why? And I was like, healthcare. Like, I'm just like, I talked to too many people who are like telling me stories. I'm like, where are you at? And you're like, oh, I'm in. And they always list the places that I think it would be cool to go live. And,
right.
You know, like, I'm older. So what am I going to get there? Need healthcare and have somebody look at a lab, see a 37 ferret and go, this looks awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you sure? Because I'm dying. Are you sure there's nothing on here that doesn't, like, do you have any idea what you're looking at? And they go, nope, you're good. All the stuff's green. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So anyway,
we say the same stuff pretty much every day because we did a trip in Europe and it's so completely different. And we're like, we want to just go live over there.
Listen, I would like a little bit of land, not a lot, right? Can I tell you what I want? I just want a greenhouse.
Oh yeah. I would love that.
A little greenhouse on my property where I could put my plants when it gets cold. Like, that's really all I want. Like, a little bit of grass to mess around in. Like, you know what I mean? Like, a place where I walk outside, I don't see another person. That's good. I don't want to be attacked by a bear or a rattlesnake or anything like that. Like, I just want to, you know what I mean? And it's okay if it gets cool in the winter, but I don't need it snowing anymore. It's enough.
Right. I feel that.
I don't know where that place is, though. Like, some people will tell you, oh, here's perfect. I'm like, great. It's like $1 million to rent like a 4-foot apartment.
Right.
Great. That's not what I want either. So I don't know. I think I'm stuck. You know what I mean? But you live in that. You live right through like, that mountain range goes up through Pennsylvania. People don't even realize that, I would imagine. But yeah, you're probably like in one of those like horrible weather gullies, like where
Yes, we are.
You just found the podcast how long ago?
Maybe like a month ago.
How'd you get on the podcast so quickly?
My therapist told me about it. So I started listening to you guys like every day at work. And then I was like, maybe I can be on it. So I messaged you and now we're here.
I got you on quick. How about that? Look at me. I'm glad you're here. Your story's insane. You know,
right?
Really upsetting. How does the boy work out with all the health issues?
Oh, he's great. I have no complaints. He's a pro with diabetes stuff now. He'll stay up late when I go to bed early to make sure I don't go low or anything because I don't wake up to my alarms. So yeah, he's really good with everything. And it kind of radicalized him in a way because he always thought that, you know, you don't feel good, you're sick, you go to the doctor, they'll fix you.
Yeah.
Until he saw being with me and going to all these doctor's appointments and not one of them listening to me, now he truly sees like, wow, they really do fail people every day.
Yeah. I mean, listen, there's plenty of good doctors. You're just not finding them.
Yeah, exactly.
Seriously. Hey, do you and I'm sorry, I'm picking around on the internet now. I think you're riding the same motorcycle I used to ride.
Yeah, now I have a GSX 8R and an SV 650.
I used to ride a GSXR 750.
Oh, nice. The 8R just came out this year.
Yeah.
Or 2024, I should say.
And I said, how long have you been riding?
Since I was 19.
No kidding. What do you like about it?
Well, I really started to ride because the gas prices were crazy at the time.
Yeah.
And I had to commute to college. And I was like, I'm just going to get a motorcycle. It's going to be cheaper. And then I fell in love with it. And I've been working at motorcycle shops since I was 19.
No kidding.
So I love it. It's just the freedom. You can really like just take your bike and just ride somewhere and find cool spots to just hang out.
Yeah, I agree with you. I got my first motorcycle because I couldn't afford car insurance.
Yeah, so same idea.
Yeah, it was $100 a year to insure the motorcycle.
Yeah.
I remember asking the person, why is it so cheap? And they said, because if you have an accident, you'll be dead. And I was like, oh, okay. You won't need your motorcycle replaced. I was like, oh, is that why it's so inexpensive? My gosh, I've owned 3 different bikes in my life, and I put over 100,000 miles on the 3 of them together.
Nice.
Yeah, like I rode a lot. And I used to ride 24/7, 365, like in the...
Me too, actually.
And there's days I'd get up and I'd be like, I got to go to work. I'd stand next to the heater and I'd run outside after get the bike warm and I'd jump on and try to ride. I had only like a 15-minute ride to work. By the time I got there, I was completely frozen.
Yeah.
And I'd get out and stand in front of another heater until I warmed up. And then on the rainy days, you had to bring clothes to change into when you got to work because you were going to be soaked when you got there. But yeah, I couldn't afford anything else. So, and I had the same problem, eventually, what's the fastest you've ever gone?
I'd say like 180.
Wow. I get to 165 once.
Nice. Well, my 180 was on a track, so wasn't on the street.
I was in Philadelphia. So
oh my God.
it was very late at night. There's nobody else out. I lost my nerve for it one day.
Yeah, I get that.
I can't explain it. I was such a free and easy rider. I was fine. I went into a store one day. This is no lies, exactly what happened. I went into a store. I parked my bike. It was really hot out, and the kickstand melted into the blacktop, and the bike fell over.
Oh man! And
I stood it up, and there was so much damage on the side of the bike. And for the first time, like I'm not lying to you, I'd been riding for years and years, and like I said, over 100,000 miles. And I saw the damage that happened. And I had been in an accident before. Like I've laid a bike down, like I've been hit by a car, like I've had motorcycle accidents. But there was something about the fact that the bike fell over, did $1,000 worth of damage and was ruined, and it wasn't moving.
Yeah.
And I thought, and it somehow like sparked my brain to go, oh, you should wonder what would happen if you were moving. And then I started worrying about it, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. I had to sell the bike. I could barely ride it to sell it. It was crazy, like how scared I got in the end. So I hope that never happens to you, because I miss it a lot.
Yeah, I've had accidents too. So far, I still want to ride.
Yeah. I got clipped one time. This lady said she was making a left turn, and she stopped, and she had her turn signal on, and I went around her on the right. She told the cop, I remembered I wanted to go right, she said.
Wow.
So she just, without looking, turned right, caught the rear wheel of the bike, and spun the bike out from under me. Like I remember going up in the air, and I remember throwing myself away from the bike. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I pushed off of it, and then I came down on the side of my head and my shoulder, and I eventually had to have my shoulder repaired years later because of the damage from that.
So were you wearing like an armored jacket?
Oh, stop it. No, I had a helmet on. I was probably wearing shorts. Like, I don't know. Yeah. That was that one. And then once, just after the thaw, like, there's still cinders on the road, and they send the street sweepers out.
Yeah.
But the street sweeper left like this thin line of cinders in the road. I hit that thin line of cinders, and the bike just like slid out from under me.
Yeah.
I stood up in the middle of a 4-way intersection with cars on every side of me. And I was like, I cannot believe I didn't get hit by a car. And
that's crazy.
And then I looked around, I couldn't find my bike. It must have slid for like another 40 or 50 yards after I stopped.
Insane.
And then I picked it up, got on it, and rode it home. So that didn't bother me at all. Then years later, it falls over, and I'm like, I can't do this. This is too dangerous. Every spring, when it's still cool, but it gets warm, in the sun and the air freshens up, I miss my motorcycle that time of year.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, I really do. So, oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, that bike's awesome. Both of yours are really cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. I don't know the other. Does your boyfriend ride with you?
Yeah, he rides too. He has different style bikes though. He does like the adventure style.
Okay.
And cafe. He has 2 Ducatis.
Nice. Yeah. I rode a Harley one time and I hated it.
Yeah, same.
I got back and the guy's like, what'd you think? And I was like sitting up so straight. And he's like, I don't know how you lay forward. I'm like, I don't know how you sit up like that.
Yeah.
Those bikes, the one you ride, the one that I've ridden, they're so comfortable that I almost feel like I could go to sleep like sitting on it. Like I'm so comfortable in that position. Anyway.
Yeah.
What have we not talked about that we should have?
I think that's it.
Yeah? You sure? Would you let me know how this goes?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm super interested because I think you're going to feel a lot better, like I said, about 4 to 6 weeks after you get an infusion.
Yeah, that gives me a lot of hope because I'm like, I don't even know where to go at this point.
Yeah. No, I mean, again, I'd do that. Then I'd wait maybe 2 months after my last infusion was done and I'd get my labs drawn again, which they're going to want to do anyway. And then when they draw your labs to look at your iron panel again, tell them like, let's look at my thyroid again too.
Okay.
And then if you see where your TSH goes. If your TSH goes back under 2, then awesome. But if it's above, like I said, 2.1 and you're still having some symptoms of hypothyroidism, that's when I would ask for that like Synthroid or something like that to address your T4.
Yeah.
And then once you've got those 2 things set up, gosh, I don't know how to say about the digestion part, but I would think the iron's going to straighten out your digestion.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah. And then from there, just like get on like vitamins and eating a little better than you are now. Because I know how you feel. Because by the way, the reason I know about most of this is because I've had very low iron and needed iron infusions in my life.
Oh, okay. I was wondering.
Plus people coming on the podcast. But that whole digestion part of it, that makes sense to me with the low iron. So I think you could have a lot of improvements. Like in the spring, you could feel differently.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I wish you a lot of luck. I hope you find somebody to help you.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Nothing else? We're good?
Yeah, I think we're good.
Awesome. I appreciate you doing this very much.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Hold on 1 second for me. Stay with me, okay?
Okay.
The podcast you just enjoyed was sponsored by Tandem Diabetes Care. Learn more about Tandem's newest automated insulin delivery system, Tandem Mobi with Control IQ Plus technology at tandemdiabetes.com/juicebox. There are links in the show notes and links at juiceboxpodcast.com. I'd like to thank the Eversense 365 for sponsoring this episode of the Juicebox Podcast and remind you that if you want the only sensor that gets inserted once a year and not every 14 days, you want the Eversense CGM. Eversensecgm.com/juicebox. 1 year, 1 CGM. Hey, thanks for listening all the way to the end. I really appreciate your loyalty and listenership. Thank you so much for listening. I'll be back very soon with another episode of the Juicebox Podcast. My Grand Rounds series was designed by listeners to tell doctors what they need, and it also helps you to understand what to ask for. There's a mental wellness series that addresses the emotional side of diabetes and practical ways to stay balanced. And when we talk about GLP medications, well, we'll break down what they are, how they may help you, and if they fit into your diabetes management plan. What do these 3 things have in common? They're all available at juiceboxpodcast.com up in the menu. I know it can be hard to find these things in a podcast app, so we've collected them all for you at juiceboxpodcast.com. The episode you just heard was professionally edited by Wrong Way Recording. wrongwayrecording.com.